Ravens flock. I hope everybody's continuing to have a happy holiday season. We had the most ideal Christmas Day scenario play out that we could have hoped for. Not only did we get to watch the Steelers lose and really get blown out on Christmas, but we also won. And not only did we won in dominating fashion against the Houston Texans on Christmas. Final score 31-2. It was almost a shutout, just complete domination. We had another complete game, and it feels like now we're saying this, or at least I'm saying this almost every week now, where it feels like, hey, this is the most complete game we've played all year. And it feels like I've been saying that for what, 2, 3, 4 games in a row. Like, so coming off the bye, we've really kicked it into another gear. It seems like everybody this time around is feeling that sense of urgency, and everybody's locking in and getting hot at the right time. And this was just a great game, and more than anything, we made it out healthy, because we all just witnessed our team go through a gauntlet where they had to play 3 games in like a 10-day window, which is insane, but it is what it is. We made it out of that. We made it out on the other side of that healthy, and not only healthy, but healthy, winning, and we look hotter than ever. We look like the hottest team in football right now. This is exciting to see, and there was really nothing to be mad about in this game. The only hiccup we had in this game was Derrick Henry got tackled in the end zone for a safety. That's the only way the Texans were able to score in this game. But, I mean, everything else went well, man. I mean, Derrick Henry went off. He had 27 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. He didn't have any big 80-yard runs, but he still just kept getting those chunk runs, 8 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards, 20 yards. He kept doing that all game long, and they really couldn't stop him for the most part. And we all know the further into the game it gets, the more players on the other team start to make business decisions and try to avoid tackling him, because just nobody wants to hit a human that that big over and over again for a full game. But Lamar also had another game to solidify why he should be the MVP. He broke Michael Vick's record for most rushing yards by a quarterback, and not only did he break it, but he broke it in 41 less games. So basically the equivalent of like 2.5 less seasons, more or less. He like, by the time Lamar retires, that record is gonna be untouchable, unreachable. Like, it's gonna be in a whole nother universe by the time he retires. He had that insane 48-yard touchdown run where, I mean, he said that in the post game, he said that he was just jogging, and I do believe him at the end of the day, because even when you watch the clip, like, Lamar doesn't even look like he's trying. Like, that's gonna go down as one of the biggest, like, wonders of the world, or what ifs of NFL history, is just everybody trying to figure out what was actually Lamar Jackson's full speed. What was he truly capable of? Because again, we don't know. He didn't run the 40-yard dash at the combine, and even when he runs, again, he only goes just fast enough to outrun whoever's chasing him. So again, we still haven't seen it. So that's something I would like to see one day, but we probably won't see it, to be honest with you. But again, just another complete game, man. Like, we made the Texans look as bad as we made the Giants look, and the Texans are a playoff team, and we still went off against them. Mark Andrews had that great play, that with that 67-yard catch. I wish he could have housed it, but like, it just the DB just had a good angle on him. And then also, even though Mark is faster than he looks, he may not be as fast as he was a couple years ago, because he's had a couple lower body injuries, but still, he had a good game. We also got to see Keaton Mitchell finally make an appearance. He doesn't look like he's all the way back, so I can kind of see why the coaches were not rushing to put him in the game, even though he's technically been back for a few weeks now, just because he still doesn't look like he's all the way back to himself. He'll probably need the rest of the coming off season to really get back to being that lightning in the bottle kind of guy. Hopefully we can get Justice Hill back by the playoffs. We probably will see Justice Hill even before the playoffs in week 18, but definitely by the playoffs, I want to see Justice Hill back in the lineup. Hopefully he's feeling better. Justin Tucker made all his kicks. I was excited to see that. I know this seems like such a bizarre scenario because once upon a time it was automatic, but at the end of the day, this year it wasn't automatic for him. And just to see that coming off the bye, whatever he did, it's apparently working. Whatever tweaks he and the special teams group made, for whatever reason, it's working now. So that's exciting to see. And then on defense, our defense went off again. This is like 6 games in a row where our defense has actually looked not just competent, but they looked like an elite defense, which is the ideal scenario. I love seeing us end the season off so hot. I mean, Kyle Hamilton laid out for a pick. That was probably one of the more impressive picks I've seen this year. And then on top of that, I know part of the reason Kyle probably wanted to lay out for that pick is because, number one, he hasn't had a pick all year. But number two, I think he still was thinking about that pick that he dropped against the Browns that could have won the game for us. But either way, it was nice to see him get that pick. It was also nice to see our Darius Washington have another goal line stand, coming off of a game against the Steelers where our Darius stopped Russell Wilson from getting into the end zone and forced a fumble. We had this game where our Darius Washington hit, and this can't be understated. He rocked Joe Mixon. And again, Joe Mixon is not a small running back either. So and our Darius is like 5'8", maybe 180 pounds. But to see how much of an impact he can make and how hard he can hit people is very exciting. We held Nico Collins in check, and now Nico Collins was the only real option to throw the ball to. But we've still seen scenarios earlier in the year where we faced other teams that had maybe 1 or 2 options to throw the ball to, and we still couldn't stop them. So to see us hold their number 1 option in check, I was very excited about that. I know some people are going to try to discredit us and say that this they're still a very solid team. They are a good team. CJ Stroud had a bad game against us, but I still think he's a really good quarterback. So this is not a win that we should take lightly. We should be very proud of what we did here. Pretty much our whole defensive line was eaten in this game. Owe had a sack, Madubuike had a sack, Kyle Van Noy had a sack. I think who else? Chris Bourne, I think, had a sack. We were just going crazy in this game, and that's something that I definitely wanted to see, because if I'm not mistaken, I mentioned in the preview video that they do struggle on their offensive line right now because their guards are hurt, and we definitely took advantage of that. I mean, it just seemed like everything was going well. Even if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn that John Harbaugh threw a challenge flag. He threw a challenge flag successfully. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe that was a fever dream, and I made that up in my mind, and I imagined that. But I could have sworn there was a moment where John Harbaugh threw a challenge flag, and it was actually a good challenge, and he actually won the challenge. I mean, it's just we were clicking on all cylinders. I was excited to see that. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and how excited are you about this game and coming off of this win, and how hot we're looking going into the AFC playoffs.